Akbar. Welcome to another edition of the Crossing the Crescent discussion group. This is a live stream show dedicated to rightly dividing the truth between Christianity and Islam. We are here every Wednesday, or at least try our best to be here every Wednesday afternoon, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We normally go for at least an hour. Sometimes, if you let us blab on long enough, sometimes we go for 2, but very rarely do we go over 2 hours. And we talk about everything Islam and Christianity. The majority of the time, we provide critiques and criticisms of Islam, but every now and then we will provide apologetics for Christianity itself. And normally those apologetics are focused on the printers going off in the background. Sorry, those apologetics are focused on criticisms of Christianity by Muslims, which could encompass anything from the corruption of the Bible, the New Testament, the crucifixion of Jesus, which actually is the main topic that divides Christians and Muslims, all the way up to whatever. I mean, you pick a Muslim criticism of Christianity. We've discussed it probably 10 different ways from sideways. So tonight, what we're going to do is I kind of picked a topic that would probably perk somebody's interest and ears. I titled the show "A Case for a New Crusade." Yes, I did. I went there, and we're going to discuss it tonight. About a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I did look at the history of the show, but our friend Isa here and I had 2 different shows where we came in and we had a discussion on were the Crusades justified? And from where I sit, my perspective, Isa got thoroughly trashed in that debate. He had no defense of the Muslim position of why the Crusades shouldn't have been launched against them. And I don't want to rehash the entire thing. You can go through the archives of the show and you can see them, how that turned out. But it didn't turn out well for those who are in the popular side of academia that say that the Crusades were nothing but a Christian aggression to purposely go out and slaughter non-Christians, mainly Muslims, because Christianity is just evil, and that they got sick and tired of whacking each other in Europe, so they decided to go whack some Muslims. Completely not the case. So what I want to do tonight is I want to kind of do a step process here. I want to give you the history of what happened to Christendom because of Islam. Talk about some of the causes for the Crusades themselves, some of the effects that we see today, or even after the Crusades, what happened immediately after, and what are the results of them today. And then I want to take a look at, okay, is that environment that existed in 11th century Europe, where Christendom had just, thrown up its hands and said, when is enough going to be enough? And finally took action to stop this encroachment onto Christian lands and the all-out assault and the attempted destruction of Christianity itself. So we're going to kind of take it in a step process tonight. We're going to go kind of fast because I got to be out of here by 6:15. Is that right? Oh, Queen of Kafiristan. Hello. 6:15? 16? Okay, I'm getting the nod. We got a church meeting tonight that we got to go to. So we're only got about an hour and 15 minutes tonight. All right. So I have the first thing I want to do is I want to show you this very famous, it's called it's a battle map. And this was developed by Dr. Bill Warner from, he's not from Jihad Watch, Political Islam, the website Political Islam. And he developed this map. And what it essentially does is it outlines all of the aggressive attacks by Muslim nations immediately after the death of Muhammad on Christian lands. And the reason why, and here's what he does, and he points this out because there is very little literature out there that has the chutzpah, the timidity, to actually point this out, that there were attacks on Christian lands by Muslims immediately, almost immediately, because you had to have the Ridder Wars, where the apostasy wars, to make sure that all the Muslims stayed Muslims right after the death of Muhammad. But what he does is he outlines these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share this, and then I'm going to play it in its entirety. It looks like it's about a 5-minute video. And I'll stop it intermittently just to maybe comment on it so we have an idea of what's going on here. So let me go ahead and make this full screen. And I'm going to start here about the 1 minute, 25-second mark. Now, what he does is if you look right here, every white dot is an attack by Muslims on Christian lands. Up here on the right, you say you got to mute yourself. There we go. Every attack. Let me back this up just a little bit so we have the beginning of it. There we go. Okay. So it starts about 620, goes to 640 AD, and every white dot is an attack by Muslim armies. You're still hot, Isa. There we go. Is an attack of Muslim armies on Christendom. And then every red dot will be an attack. We'll just demonstrate that this attack has happened prior. And up here on the right, it'll show the timeline progression from 620 all the way up to the 1920s. Right here is where it ends. So let's go ahead and play this. So you see all the white dots coming out of Arabia, and they're attacking Christian-held lands. All of this land from Spain, southern France, Italy, all of the Mediterranean area is Christian. All of this is Christian land at this time. North Africa, Egypt, all of this is Christian land. So immediately in 638, you have Muslims attacking Jerusalem, taking Jerusalem away from the Christians and the Jews, and keeping Christians from visiting their holy sites. They're raped, they're murdered, and they are robbed every time they go down through there. And this is one of the reasons for the Crusades, but this is what's happening to Christians. But look what they immediately do. They take this land away from Christians. Let me play this. So just look at all these white attacks, these white dot attacks. Red dots indicate the previous attack. So here, 720, look at here, all of North Africa. And this area, folks, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, these were the main centers of Christianity. Alexandria, Antioch, Jerusalem, of the 5 churches. Rome and Constantinople are only 2 that aren't taken, and that doesn't happen for 500, 600 years after that. Let's keep going. So this is where the main majority of Christianity is. It's not up here in Europe. It's down here in North Africa and in Asia Minor, or in Syria.
Yeah, keep in mind, people, the majority of Northern Europe were pagan.
Yeah.
We're hardcore, hardcore pagan. Where my good people come from. We're hardcore pagan.
People think of...
Okay, now look at all these attacks in Spain, 780. Now, keep in mind, Spain falls in 711. I don't know why this hasn't turned green yet, but Spain falls in 711. 732, you have tours in France where Charles Martel stops the Muslim invasion into France.
Islam, they think of Arabs. They think of Arabs.
Look at all the attacks.
And yet here we see that Islam is projecting power throughout the Mediterranean. Notice how the little islands of the Mediterranean are getting hammered.
Yeah, you have Malta, Sicily, Cyprus, Crete. All those islands are being attacked constantly by Muslims.
The Navy of Islam would attack coastal towns, kill, rob, rape, and then take slaves.
Let's make sure we understand what Islam did. And many historians are coming out and now they're realizing it. All of these attacks on the Mediterranean shut down trade. Rome, the Roman Empire, secured the trade in the Mediterranean. This is what made Europe so prosperous. When you shut down this trade of North Africa and Southern Europe, this is what ushers in the Dark Ages. You have no papyrus, just something as simple as paper, is no longer being exported out of Egypt into Southern Europe. Just something that simple. So a lot of people don't realize that the reason for the Dark Ages was because of Islam's attack on European society. They went in there and folks, this is a lot of this kidnapping. Over 1 million European slaves are dragged into Islamic land, especially up here in the Slavic areas. Or over here, I'm sorry, right here, the Slavic area.
Which is why we have the word slave in English.
That's where the name comes from.
The Slavs were the slaves. Okay. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Look at Elizabeth Victoria. There was little interest in the Crusades in Islamic culture prior to the 20th century, but since 1950, the Crusades became an idyllic stamp of Salafism and jihad. Yeah, and it's like saying it is Christians need to be ashamed. It's like trying to tell anybody that's white today, for example, you need to be ashamed of European colonization in the Americas, and you need to be ashamed of slavery that you're alive today. You have nothing to do with it, and the same thing is true with the Crusades. To try to push this idea that the Crusades were somehow current Christians' fault is just an attempt at to play the victim card. But what I'm going to do here as we go on, I'm going to show you these people. Anybody that deserved it, it's these people. They deserve. When you come in and you take 2/3 of the land, you rape, pillage, and plunder the land and cause it to go into this dark age, and somebody finally stands up and responds to it. Don't sit there and cry like a little sissy and say, "Oh, woe is me, you mean old people actually responding to our raping and pillaging and murdering." No, it doesn't work. Not anymore.
So this whole battle map, as it unfolds, you're seeing slaves being taken. Over 1 million slaves were taken out of Europe into the Islamic world. That's something you don't think about much, but it's absolutely true. There were over 200 battles fought in Spain alone.
Okay, now, folks, 1220. This is let's back it up just a little bit. Just a little bit to see if I can. 1160 still too far. Back it up a little bit. 1140, 1120. Okay, right here, 1095. 1095, the First Crusade is called. Look how much of Christendom that originally existed had already been taken. Look how many attacks had already occurred on the eve of the Crusades. All the way up in, look at the Aegean Sea here in Italy, the heart of the Roman Empire, or the heart of the Roman Sea, Sicily, Sardinia, again, Crete and Cyprus, just ransacked with this. Malta, just sacked, and they're upset because they were finally responded to. Really? This is the beginning. The Crusades haven't even happened. They just had it started. Okay, nobody's in Jerusalem until 1099 is when they finally took Jerusalem. The year before this begins, and look at how this continues.
Europe into the Islamic world. That's something you don't think about much, but it's absolutely true. There were over 200 battles fought in Spain alone. And we also see, however, on the East Coast in Turkey, that Islam is trying to break into Europe. Now, what's going to happen is in Spain, this ongoing fight that lasted for 400 years, is the Christians are going to push back the Muslims. But now then what has happened over in the East is that Constantinople has fallen, and now
Constantinople falls, what was it, 1453, I think. Constantinople finally
now then Eastern Europe is getting hammered. The jihad.
Okay, look how quickly that after Constantinople falls. Look, this is the reason why people had to go exploring. Soon as the Bosphorus is taken here in Constantinople, the trade route to Asia is completely cut off. You can't go through the trade through the Mediterranean anymore. That's all cut off. And now this is cut off, even the land part of it. You have to go clear up and around. You can't even do it. You still can't do that because you have all these mountain ranges that you would have to cross. So the Ural Mountains are right up here. You can't do that. The Caspian Sea is a big block. Can't do that. It's all controlled by Muslims.
Now comes to Eastern Europe. It's pushed out now of Spain.
They push it out in 1492 with Queen Isabella and Prince Ferdinand or King Ferdinand. They push that out the same year that Christopher Columbus goes exploring. Folks, they had to find an alternative route to trade with India. They wanted the silk, they wanted the incense, they wanted the spices. They wanted to restore that. So instead of sailing clear around Africa, which wasn't done until the mid 1500s or early 1500s anyway, Christopher Columbus says, well, I'm just going to go west and I'm going to find. So you can thank the Muslims for the discovery of the Americas. Thank you, Muslims. Finally did something.
See, right there, you're just proving, Eric, you're just proving Islam. It's a miracle of Islam. You see, all ham due to Allah. All ham due to Allah. Yes.
There you go.
Northern Africa is now completely Islamic. The Middle East is completely Islamic. This is all jihad, relentless jihad. And why is it so relentless? Well, Muhammad was relentless in his jihad. And these people are good students of Islam, and so it's against the kafir, on and on. It was traditional that when the Sultan came to power, the brand new Sultan, he would immediately try to launch new wars because he was going to be noted in his Islamic history as to how well he fought against the kafir.
No, hold on. Let's back up just a little. Oops, I'm sorry. I clicked the wrong thing.
So that's what the jihad looked like.
Okay. Where are we at right
The Middle East is complete.
Vienna, what was that, 1583?
Completely Islamic. The Middle East is completely Islamic. This is all jihad.
Okay, so here in Vienna, Austria, right in here, I don't know if you can see it, you'll have this attack. Pushes through.
Relentless jihad. And why is it so relentless? Well, Muhammad was relentless in his jihad. And these people are good students of Islam. And
so they push that back.
So it's against the kafir, on and on. It was traditional that when the Sultan came to power, the brand new Sultan, he would immediately try to launch new wars because he was going to be noted in his Islamic history as to how well he fought against the kafir. So that's what the jihad looked like over that time period.
Let's look at the Crusades and what they did. All right. So you just had all. I think it was over.
Let's watch it and make a comparison.
Okay. Now here are the Crusades. Notice he has the Crusade battles, 1080.
So it begins. The Crusades enter into Turkey and the Middle East. Battles go on, but aren't there far fewer than you thought there might be? And here we go. The last battles are fought, and that is the end of the Crusades. So now then we can talk about some facts. Yes, there were Crusades, but notice they ended centuries ago, and jihad is being practiced today. Jihad has been with us for 1,400 years. There is no comparison between jihad and the Crusades, certainly not a moral comparison.
And that's the point that we're trying to make tonight, this moral comparison of the jihad that is going on today to what happened during the Crusades. There just isn't, it's not even close. Not even close. So when we look at what Islam did almost immediately after the death of Muhammad, you have the Ridda Wars, apostasy wars, of course. They got to go out and whack a bunch of people and make sure that people don't apostatize from Islam. But after they get that house in order, Umar heads north into Jerusalem and sacks all of those churches up in Syria, the main center of Christianity, oh, by the way, and then in Egypt, which is the main center in Alexandria of Christianity and thought, tears across all of North Africa, goes east, clear across the Zoroastrian Empire, the Persian Empire, and into what is now modern, into the Hindu Kush Mountains, right there in what is now India, and sacks all of those people who were essentially Hindus and Buddhists. Do you think that they gave them the choice to live? No, they killed them. They didn't have the choice to convert. They were just killed. So they weren't allowed, or no, they had the choice to convert. They just, they couldn't become dhimmis. That's right. They couldn't continue to practice their religion. Zoroastrian, or he allowed Zoroastrians, but it was the Hindus and the Buddhists. They didn't, no, can't do it. So this idea that the Crusades were somehow a bad thing is just wrong-headed. It's taught in our universities. It's taught in our public school classrooms, but it's not true. Every single crusade that was launched against the Muslims, those punk-ass bitches, sorry for my profanity, but that's what they're, just a bunch of punk-ass bitches. They deserved it. They deserved to get their asses handed to them. When you go across 3 continents, Europe, Asia, and Africa, whacking Christians, raping Christians, taking Christians into slavery, killing them, decimating their religion, and some of it is revisited onto you because you are preventing them to go into their holiest sites. No, there's I don't understand how you can complain about that. You can say, well, they committed atrocities. Shut up. That's what every army did during that time frame. You're what you're doing. You're applying this sense of modernism upon the Crusades, and you just can't do that. So, were the Crusades justified? In my opinion, of course.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. What people what you didn't discuss. So the first crusade was launched because they had this Caliph of Jerusalem. They called him the Mad Caliph or something like that, or the Mad Sheikh. I forgot what they called him. But anyway, he burned down the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, or maybe it was the Church of the Nativity. I forget which one, but he had it destroyed. He burned it down. Okay. And that was it. That was enough, dude. Okay? And that's when you had Pope Innocent, right? The third, I think it was, give his famous speech in somewhere in France. And there's 2 versions of the version in Latin and the version in French, from what I'm told. But that's when he rallied the knights and the kings, okay, to go and free the Holy Land. And they went in there, and there were things that went wrong, and there were things that went good. And they actually did wrestle Jerusalem away from the Muslims. And they set up these, Christian mini kingdoms, I guess, if you will, we'll call them. And, well, they did pretty good for a while, but then all of a sudden they started to be mismanaged. And then the Muslims started to come up and started to take a little bit, little by little. Then you had the Second Crusades, which is extremely well organized. Was it? Which one was Richard on? Was that the Second Crusade? Richard was in the second or third crusade.
Reinhard was the Third Crusade.
Yeah, Third Crusade. Yes, the Second Crusade was very well organized. Only problem is when they got to Italy, they were supposed to have a fleet of ships waiting for them to take them across the Mediterranean, and the Genoan shipmakers kind of ripped them off, but said, "Hey, look, there's a kingdom up north or a little fiefdom that has a lot of money. So if you take the ships that we do made for you, you can go and rob them and pay us to make more ships." So that didn't quite work out too well. Okay. But then you had Richard Lyme come in, who Although a strategic genius, he was also an idiot. But that's beside the point. Got himself killed on the way back by a crossbow. But anyway, bottom line is this. Nothing's perfect, okay? But this is over 400 years of jihad attack of Muslims just conquering and conquering and conquering and devouring Christian lands, Christian resources, raping women, just taking slaves, forcing converts. I mean, eventually, enough is enough, man. Eventually, you got to stand up. Now, the only thing I felt the Crusades is that it wasn't successful enough. And the reason why it wasn't successful enough is because you were fighting with petty kings, petty tyrants. Now, if this would have been in the time of Julius Caesar or Augustus, Islam would never have lasted a day. Do you see what I'm saying? So yes, it takes a strong hand to deal with Islam. Not a weak, pathetic, oh, don't worry, we're all going to be all inclusive. Yay. No. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. Sorry, Eric, to interrupt.
No, that's quite right. So when you look at the Crusades, how they were run, how they were managed, I'm really not interested in arguing all that, because people say, well, when they went into Crusaders went into Antioch, or when they went into Jerusalem, they just slaughtered the Muslims. Yes, they did. They slaughtered them wholesale, and the reason why is because they would not surrender. They would not, they wouldn't give them the city. So what do you do to people that that continue to fight? Well, you slaughter them. That's what warfare. That's what we do in warfare. That's what they call it, warfare. Let me see here. What is Elizabeth saying now about Karen Armstrong? That's like a dirty word. That wench, I tell you. Prolific anthropologist for Islam comes up with short, satisfactory justification for the Muslim Crusades once. Yeah, Karen Armstrong's an idiot, if you ask me. But anyway, so let's get back to the Crusades themselves. The Christians, they end up, because of the supply lines that are involved in maintaining the Christian kingdoms there in the Holy Land. You just can't do it in perpetuity, especially with the antiquated supply lines that had gone on or that existed at the time. You have to send, and the amount of money involved also was just absolutely atrocious. To try to say that they went there to plunder Muslim lands to get rid, that's just stupid. I mean, it shows your ignorance of history. If that's one of your arguments, that the reason why they went there is to plunder their lands. But the effects of that, there really isn't any long-lasting effects of Christianity or the Crusades in the Holy Land, other than just some pent-up resentment and butthurt of having their asses handed to them like they did. But other than that, there's no militarily, religiously, it's still all Muslim there in Syria. You still say you had some vestiges of Christianity held out in Lebanon, but that didn't have any effect on the return of the Jews to the Holy Land. Or look at Egypt, the situation for the Copts in Egypt is the same. The situation for Christians in Anatolia, or what was now modern day Turkey, still the same. Ottoman Empire, nothing's changed. So the bottom line is that the Crusades did not have a positive effect that is still with us today. So this gets to the reason why I believe there should be a new call for a crusade. Now, before people start reporting me to YouTube or Facebook and saying, "Oh, the Kafirs were promoting violence against Muslims," I am not doing that. I'm not promoting any type of violence against Muslims at all. No, not that type of crusade. Not a kinetic crusade where we go to the Holy Land and start whacking people. I'm not calling for that at all. No. But what I am calling for is the re-immigration of Muslims who have invaded Europe. Muslims have been trying to invade Europe since the time of Abu Bakr, or not Abu Bakr, Umar. They went across all of North Africa. Let me preface this, or let me qualify. Qualify is a better word. Let me qualify this first off. The Rashidun period of the four rightly guided caliphs is an ahistorical time period. We have nothing that I'm aware of anyway. We have nothing indicating that these four caliphs existed outside of Islamic writings. We don't have any writings from Jerusalem, from Egypt, from North Africa, from Spain, or well, they didn't go into Spain, but in North Africa, that says that Umar has come in and has invaded our lands. We don't have anything. We don't have anything saying that Uthman has come in and invaded our lands. We don't have anything. We don't have anything about Ali invading any lands. Anything outside of Islam, it does not exist. If there is a secular reference to any of these jokers, go ahead and fess it up. Post it in chat, post it on the timeline, send me an email. I don't care. I'd like to see it. But there isn't. So this idea that it was Islam spreading across, it was a bunch of Arabs coming out of the Arabian Peninsula whacking Christendom. It eventually morphed into Islam, but it was not initially. Muslims do it. But when you go across all of North Africa and into Europe, you can clearly see Europeans, 7-Elevens when Spain is taken, you have Europeans doing everything that they possibly can to push the Muslims back. And for centuries, this goes on. It goes on in the East, where they're constantly warring against Muslims. A real interesting story about when you get to American colonial America, Jamestown. Jamestown was ruled by a guy by the name of John Smith. John Smith was a British soldier who fought Muslims in the East. This is Jamestown 1608. So this is, early 17th century. So you have popular soldiers fighting the Muslims in the East. So this is still going. This has gone on for over 1,000 years. They're fighting Muslims. Then, what does Christianity do? Christendom do? Dumb, the key word. They turn around. Hold on, I think I got a message here from somebody. Nope. They turn around and open the doors to all these jokers for centuries. After the collapse of the Ottoman Empire and World War I, you had a shortage of men in Europe. Why? Well, they slaughtered each other for 4 flipping years in the trenches in France, in the Somme Valley in France, and on the Eastern Front with Russia. So all of these men that would normally be there in Europe to provide work, support, raise families, repopulate the area, they're gone. They're dead. They've been slaughtered in this senseless war. So what does a country like France do? Well, they open their doors to Islamic immigration. Come in and help us rebuild our country. Did these Muslims assimilate? No. Did not assimilate. Same thing with Spain. Well, Spain didn't necessarily fight, but Spain let too many Muslims in today. And they're trying to re-immigrate them out. But anyway, they allow the Muslims in. And the next thing you know, now you have the floodgates of all of these Muslim men fleeing into Europe under the guise. Now, this is the guise. This is what they're claiming. Their religious persecution. They're being persecuted in their countries. Ask yourself, If you are suffering persecution in your country and you're fleeing persecution in your country, who do you bring along with you? Who do you bring? Your friends? Your brothers? Your uncles? Your dad? Why aren't you bringing your wives and your children? And we all know the reason. The reason is that these guys are lying. They're lying through their teeth. This hijra into Europe, that's exactly what it is an invasion. And they're doing it under the guise that, oh, we're being persecuted. We just need someplace to go. Why didn't you bring your wife and children with you?
I was listening to, which I highly recommend, listening to Winston Marshall. Have you listened to him or heard of him, Eric? Winston Marshall. He is the ex-member of the pop band Mumford & Sons. I think he played the banjo or something like that. Anyway, he's very British, raised on the upper crust. No, he's got that voice, very, very British. Very, very, you know what I mean? Where you're just like, wow, he's intelligent, kind of deal. But anyway, he started a podcast. He was fired from the Mumford & Sons because he posted something that said, when you other people and call them Nazis, that's when you become the Nazi or something like that. And there was a big uproar, wokeness, and said, well, you got to be canceled. So he was canceled from his band. Well, anyway, he's been interviewing a lot of people on this immigration issue. And interviewed this, I think she's a reporter. But what's interesting is that these young men that are coming in seeking asylum, the UK is doing it to themselves. For instance, they have one case, and I just bring this up. This is amazing. They were going to deport this dude back to Albania. And they said, no, you can't deport me back to Albania because my son doesn't like the way they make the chicken nuggets there. And therefore, he won't be able to eat. They won't be able to meet his dietary requirements. Yeah. They got another dude, another drunk guy. Maybe this is the guy. He's from Albania. No, that dude was from Syria. That's what it was. He was from Syria, so you can't deport him because he doesn't like the way they make the chicken nuggets in Syria. Anyway, no, this other. Oh no, wait. Oh, hold on, wait. I confused it. No, the guy I'm talking about now is the guy from Syria. I guess he's a notorious drunk, and this is the guy who's from Pakistan. He's a notorious drunk, and he assaulted women. Whatever, of course, because he's from Pakistan. It seems like from wherever the Pakistanis go, they just kind of assault women. Anyway, no, seriously, they got a Pakistani in Japan just raped some poor Japanese girl, and they're like, whoa, gee. But anyway, they deport him, but they said they can't deport him because he's an alcoholic, and he won't have enough booze to satisfy his alcoholism. In Pakistan, not making it up. This is the Winston Marshall show. They have these these are definite clarified reports and cases. But this is the insanity of the UK. They're deliberately doing this to themselves. And that's what we were going to do that's what we were doing to ourselves under Biden.
We're right behind them.
Well, thank God that Trump shut that crap down. Oh, by the way, have you seen what's going on in Mexico? Sorry to sidetrack real quick. But all it took was Trump to shut down the border for several months, and the Mexicans are uprising against their corrupt government.
Right.
It's amazing what's happening here. No, they are in full-blown rebellion. I don't know if they shut it down now, but they're attacking the palace, everything.
It was rebellion itself?
Yes, in multiple towns.
I don't know if it's still going on or not. Are they still protesting down there?
I don't know. I'll have to check that out. Last I heard, it was going on yesterday. But that's a good sign, though. You see what I'm saying? It's going to get more and more and more of this, because because it's corrupt. But I just thought I'd share that. I don't know why. I just thought it was interesting.
Well, I mean, you have this Islamification going on in England, and what are these Muslims doing when they come in there? Are they contributing to society? Are they getting jobs? Are they doing anything inventive to promote England? No, none of that. the majority of them, and I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I've seen the statistics. The majority of them are on some type of public support. That means that they're there and they're draining the British tax dollars away from Britons who actually earn money, have a job, get out of bed, and go to work. They are exponentially misrepresented as a percentage-wise in prisons because they commit a lot more crimes. And the reason why they commit a lot more crimes, they have no respect for the country. They have no respect for its laws, no respect for its people. In addition to that, when we speak of crimes, the number of rapes since, was it 2009? How many British girls have been raped by these pricks? It's just, some people put the number up over 100,000.
Oh yeah, no. So that's the interesting thing. So the Muslims,
Crusade or I'm going to come kill your ass mad. I don't know what does.
So let me just comment on it real quickly. The Muslim response to that, or the apologist response to that, or the lefty lunatic response to that, it's like, I love it. It's like, well, white Brits do it too. Oh, okay. So white Britons rape white girls. That means it's okay for Pakistani Muslims to rape white girls. Okay, I get your thing. But no, that's not what I'm saying. Here's the problem with this. Okay, white Britons are like 80% of the country still. Okay? So yes, white Brits, you would expect them to commit the majority of the crimes. Okay? Whatever level of crimes they are, you would expect that. Okay? Because that's normal. But what we're seeing, okay, or what they're seeing in the UK is that the majority of the rapes, the Pakistanis, or the Asians, or what they call them, okay, or the immigrants or migrants or whatever, are only like 5 to 6% of the country. Yet they are committing 40% of the rapes.
Yeah,
that's called disproportionate. Yes,
completely disproportionate. Yeah,
right.
It's not even close. To what they're doing.
And the real scary thing is the British government covers for it. And they've been doing it for 20 years. And every 5 or 6 years, all of a sudden there's an outrage. Oh my God, how are they doing this? And then it dies down, and another 5 years comes on, and another reporter mysteriously discovers what Tommy Robinson has been saying for the past 20 years. When they bring him, well, that's what Tommy Robinson said. No, Tommy Robinson, he's lower class. We can't listen to him. He actually,
not what they say. Anybody that disagrees with them, they call right wingers. This is why Trump needs to sue the pants off of the BBC for what they did to him.
Definitely.
They need to take their money and get the BBC off the flipping air, because it's the BBC that is supporting all of these politicians and giving them cover for allowing all of these immigrants to pour into their country.
Oh, exactly. Oh, he is. He's doubling down on it. And he actually has a case. He's going to totally.
I hope it sues their pants off. I hope it costs them billion. Having their 2 top executives resigned. Oh no, guys, we're going to take your money and we're going to destroy your TV station, or you're going to reform it to the point where you no longer spew this leftist bilge that you've been spewing onto the British people for the past 20, 30 years now. Because I can't remember where I was reading this at, but the BBC, it's like it's in 90 to 95. It's like CNN in our country, but not as high. But they are in 90 to 95% of the homes.
Well, that's worse, though.
Because it's so prolific in England itself. They need to be taken down.
Here's the thing, though, with the BBC. I found this out from Jay. They have a TV tax, okay? If you own a TV, even if you never, ever watch TV, just the fact that you own a TV or have a TV cable hookup, okay, you have to pay a tax, and that goes to the BBC. So the BBC... Huh?
Really?
Yeah. How did
that work out?
Well, most people are not paying it, but they actually are now cracking down on it because they need the money. Because nobody really watches the BBC. It's like CNN is popular because they force you to watch it in the airport.
Right.
You know what I mean? They actually have contracts. CNN actually has a contract with all the airports around the world to play CNN in the airport. Okay, all right. You know, but in the bars, the restaurants, whatever, your waiting area, it's all CNN. Anyway, but the point being is this. Okay. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. Okay. No, I forgot it. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. That thread just ended.
Dementia-ridden old man.
Okay,
I got a couple other things that I want to add to this. When these invaders, that's exactly what they are. They're not immigrants, they're invaders. When they come into these countries, if you try to complain about them coming into the country because the majority of them aren't white, they call you a racist. Now, my question is that if you are white, why is it racist to be proud of the fact that you're white? Why is it racist to say that you only want Christians in your country because you know what Islam has done to others? Why is that? How is that? Why is that racist to say these things? Well, the majority of the people that are Muslims just happen not to be Caucasoids. They happen to be either of Arab descent, East Asia or West Asian descent, or African descent. So therefore, it is a clash of races, and to be anti-Muslim is to be racist? Really? No, it's not. It's that you detest Islam and what it does to every single society that it encounters. Every single society that Islam touches, there's conflict. That's different from it anyway. History proves that. So to allow Islam to creep into your country like it has, it's not just creeped into it, it's invaded. Look at some of these film clips. I'm going to show you a couple clips from Instagram. I've shown dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of clips right now of violence that is being perpetuated against Europeans today by these Muslim migrants. But we're just not talking about violence. We're talking about is the very fabric of Western societies. Something as simple as a Christian market. A Christian market in Germany, of all places. Germans are some proud people. That's one group of people I would not piss off. I would be very careful. Let me see here. Where is it? Which one is it? Here it is. Okay, let me go ahead and show it. Here is our Muslims coming into a Christian market in Germany, Christian festivity fair, to protest against the tradition. It goes against the beliefs of Islam. How dare you believe that? You're going to come into a Christian country and you are going to protest the birth of Christ, the celebration of the birth of Christ. This is what these guys are doing. And you want us to continue to allow people to come in and live freely among us, sucking off the social welfare program, including all of these crimes, disproportionate number of crimes as a percentage of criminal activity. Raping, stealing, looting. No. That's not happening. But it isn't just there. Here's something that's interesting. What about a dog? Rad, do you have a dog?
No, I don't have a poop machine. But let me just comment really quickly on that.
Don't get me distracted about the dog. Go ahead.
No. Okay. On that Christian festival. There are some towns in Germany that I read about that they are canceling now their German festivals.
Why?
Because of Muslims. No, because
right.
they're because
what the hell are you? Who do you think you are coming into a foreign country, being welcomed in to a foreign country by that country, given all of these benefits to try to assimilate to that country, and then you start protesting something as basic as the celebration of Christ's birth? Who in the hell do you think you are?
Well, it's not who the hell they think they are.
The arrogance, the sheer arrogance that they have and attempt to dominate Christianity in Christian countries. Go ahead.
Well, it's not so much, to me at least, who the hell do they think they are? They know who they are. It's who the hell are the Germans out? What happened to the Germans? You said the Germans are a proud people. They're not someone to piss off. I'm telling you right now, the Germans are not the Germans of, yesteryear. The Germans now are pretty much all vegan for some reason. Okay? They wanted to go green, and they went green energy.
Called Nazis all the time.
What's that?
They're shamed into cowardice because of what Hitler did. And
exactly.
There's hardly a German alive today that was involved in that.
Exactly.
And forget the fact that Germany suffered almost immeasurably right after World War II.
Oh, yeah, nobody talks about that.
25% of its young men, over 25% of its, I think it's 1/3 of its young men died during that war.
I was listening to a podcast.
Yeah, economy was completely destroyed for decades.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast, and Germany after World War II was a horrendous place to live. Massive starvation. I mean, for the first
Marshall Plan to rebuild it because it was just
right.
It was completely destroyed. They couldn't get back on their feet, and we had soldiers over there denazifying the denazification of Germany. They're trying to denazify it. Okay, fine, that wasn't too tough because nobody's alive to say boo, say no, and they don't have any food. So it was a horrible time. This podcast, there were all these serial killers running around too. There's all kinds of bizarre cases. Just horrible things that were happening. But nobody talks about that. That's beside the point. Anyways, let's get back to the dogs. No, I do not have a cute little poop machine. Sorry. No, not gonna have one. But go ahead. Yeah. Well, the point that I'm trying to make is that Christians, and especially here in the West, we love our dogs. I've had a few dogs, and each of those dogs, they're like members of the family. I mean, we love our dogs. Well, who doesn't love dogs? Muslims. Why don't they love dogs? Because Muhammad hated dogs. That's why I'm thinking about getting another dog and naming him Muhammad. I'm just considering that. I can really
go to Dearborn.
Like a black lab.
There you go. No, you can't get a black lab because the black lab would love the Muslim. Blah, 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 blah,
they're just such a great dog. No. I mean, I had a black lab, and she was just an absolute wonderful dog. She really was. But I didn't name her Muhammad.
No. But you got to get a pit bull. You got to get a pit, name it Muhammad. Or a rot.
No. If I was going to name something, I would probably get like a little chihuahua or something. Anyway.
That's true. I get it. Go ahead.
I have okay. Here's a video. About just something as simple as walking your dog in a park. These Muslims invaders come in and get on a woman about walking her dog in a public park. Muslim invaders, people who immigrated to the country, are coming in there and saying, you can't have your dog in around here. And I've seen other video clips with the Muslims going off on dogs. Screw you. You don't like the dogs, get the hell out of the country. Go back to the country that doesn't have dogs. That's fine. Go ahead, take it, get out. But don't come in here and try to tell us how to live. This is where we're talking about this invasion of not only just, militarily and trying to dominate us religiously. They're trying to do something as personal as, owning a dog. Look what they do here. Let me see if I can. How do you turn the sound on? Oh, down here in the bottom. There it is. There we go. What is going on here?
No, you're a fucking immigrant. I'm scared. No, you're an immigrant.
I don't know why.
White
This
slavery.
idiot just ignore it.
White
This fucking
slavery,
racist.
baby.
Fuck off, racist.
White slavery.
Get the fuck out of here.
Why don't you get the fuck out of here?
Shut up. It's not your fucking country, you dummy.
No, I'm a
It's
Canadian.
genuine.
I was born here.
You know,
Yeah, that's exactly right. Get the F out of here. You don't like dogs? Get the F out of here. Don't sit here and complain to me about my dog in the park. I'm following all the leash laws, but obeying the law here, and being courteous to other people. You're the one that came into this country uninvited, oh, by the way. And now you're telling this woman that she can't have her dog. Get the hell out of here. But this is how it starts, folks. And this is what these people are having to deal with constantly. Here's another video clip right here.
Bro, do you know one funny thing? It's not even Islamic, because in the Quran, there's a chapter where there's a dog that guards the sleepers of the cave. So it's really interesting that there's this fixation on dogs within the Muslim community, and the Quran doesn't even support this position. So it's pretty wild. You know what I mean?
Well, the dog, Muslims, Muhammad actually said if your dog is used for, I think it was hunting or some type of protection, that's fine.
Well, that dog seems pretty
That was a pet. No, you can't. You can't. I mean, it's
it's not in the Quran. It's in the Sunnah of their prophet, the Sunnah that David Wood followed when he was 18 years old. It's a Quranic miracle, I'm telling you. Anyway, what Islamic miracle?
Here's the Muhammad Hijabi. Look at this douche canoe.
When those Zionists came in with their dogs, that was an act of provocation.
When they came in with their dogs, that's an act of provocation. You're out walking your dogs. You are provoking Muslims. You're provoking Muslims in your own country that have come there uninvited. Look what he goes on to say.
So what we're saying now, and I'm making it very clear so everyone understands, if those dogs come close to us again, let me be very clear here. Look at Awi Dawa in the back there.
He's the gimp.
What a sycophant. Come on.
We will see it as an act of aggression.
We'll see it as an act of aggression. If you come out there with it, we'll see it as an act of aggression. Oh, really?
And we will kill those dogs.
And we'll kill those dogs. Okay. That's the point.
Then, brother, you can go right to jail.
No, he's going to go someplace else. If he did this to like my dog, he would kill my dog. He's going someplace else. He's not going to jail.
But in the UK, no, he said he wouldn't go to jail for that.
This is where people have to stand up and say, and this is why
that's murder. Though.
Is so screwed, is because they won't even stand up for their little girls. And forget the dogs. They're little girls getting raped by these guys by the hundreds of thousands. And then for a dog, you come in and put your hand on my dog in an attempt to harm that dog, homie, you're gonna. That's game on. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. You're not doing that. So when we start talking about calling for a crusade, they're coming in and trying to change bit by bit, step by step, our culture to resemble theirs. You want a culture that resembles theirs or yours? Go back to where the hell you came from.
Oh, now I remember what I was going to say a while ago. Now I remember. This is a funny thing, dude. I learned this from Daniel Hakachu, okay, who was in a Dawa war with all the other Muslims, okay, because he is hardcore. He wants to cooperate with Iran and the Shia to destroy Israel, and all the other Muslims are like, no, we can't cooperate with the Shias to destroy Israel. We must destroy the Shias before we destroy Israel. I'm not making it up. That is a serious war, okay, that's going on in the Dawa space. Anyway, he plays this clip of one of the great sheikhs of the Dawa scene. I forget his name, but he's got a white beard. I know I'm explaining a lot of them. Big white beard. He wears the turban or the whatever, the male version of the hijab. And he's talking on the podcast about the UAE, United Arab Emirates. And he's talking about how London, England, is more of a place to make your umrah to than the United Arab Emirates. and he's talking that the United Arab Emirates is now more kuffar land because they allow alcohol and drink, or maybe Saudi Arabia. Well, either way, how that's becoming more kuffar land because they allow drinking and they're mixing women and they allow dance parties and all this other stuff. But in London, we are seeing more of the Umrah there. We're taking more power there. We are making it more Islamic. And he's actually literally saying, I'll have to find a video, but he's actually saying it is better to go and immigrate to the UK than it is to these Arab Gulf countries because the UK has become more Islamic.
Yeah, especially in, I mean, Siddiqui Khan's been elected for the third time, I think, which is as mayor.
Yeah, because he's Muslim, yeah.
Right.
Muslims and the socialists, yeah.
Mandami, and these other major cities of the United States.
New York is good. New York is going to be so much fun.
Why would Siddiqui support Salafis? He's definitely a progressive Muslim. Those are two completely unaligned positions. Like a Salafi and a Sufi are not going to. They're completely they're diametrically opposed.
Because
it's strange to me.
It's called the green. No.
You put before Muslim, they're still Muslims.
Well, okay, let me explain.
Like a Westboro Baptist Christian versus I don't know, a Presbyterian.
They have nothing to do. Westboro Baptists have nothing to do with Christianity.
Well, okay, let me explain.
I'm saying to like a progressive Muslim like Javed Hashmi, Salafi has nothing to do with Islam. I'm just saying that's why ISIS kills other Muslims because they see them as not Muslim.
Can I interject here? Can I interject? Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Real quick, can I answer your question, Ethan? It's called the Red Green Alliance. Okay. What's his name? Khan, the guy in London. Again, he's more of a socialist communist than he is a Muslim. But hey, as long as what's that?
I said he would be a progressive Muslim.
Yeah, communist. Okay, so again, no, I don't make a distinction. So again, his only thing is he panders to the Muslims, and he gives the Muslims what they need to. He'll give them cover. He'll give them the support of the councils. Okay, divert money to them. Whatever it does, he will pander them because he knows that's a solid voting core, solid voting block. They can count on their vote as long as it says, Alhamdulillah, blah, 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 I'm a Muslim, blah, 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 and he gives them what they want, what they need. And then he also has the other block, which is the socialist communists, what you call them progressives, but they're basically communists, okay, that will also vote for him. So therefore, he's got those two voting blocks locked in, and he doesn't have to do crap. He just has to make empty promises and run London stand into the ground. Which is what he's doing.
Do these Wahhabis actually vote though? Do they even have? I don't know. I've never really heard that I've never really heard the Salafi movement very interested in voting at all.
Let's get off this thing with London Stand with Siddiqui Khan. The bottom line is that we're focusing on the immigration, to overwhelm the societies in Europe and England. And you're absolutely right with London to the point where you elect a Muslim mayor. Forget the fact that he's a socialist, that he's a communist or whatever. The fact is that whatever adjective you put in front of Muslim, he's still a Muslim, and he's going to put Muslim concerns, Muslim things that Muslims want first and foremost before Brits. It's the same thing with the new. What do you call the Homeland Security Director in England? I can't remember what the name of but it's the same thing as Christy Nome is Director of Homeland Security. Home Office. There we go. So Home Office. The lady in charge of the Home Office is a Muslim. What in the heck do you think she's going to do to protect the civil rights of basic basic British citizen? Not a dadgum thing if it comes at the expense of a Muslim. She's not going to do it.
But Eric.
I'm curious though. Progressive Muslims really are the idea. Most progressive Muslims are pro-monogamy. Look at Mamdani, for example. A person saying that they believe in polygamy versus there's going to be a conflict. There's going to be tension. Like if you look at Big Think and you see the progressive Muslims battle against Ajam Chowdhury, like Majid Nawaz, like they fight. They're not like on the same page. They're like, dude, you're a terrorist. That's what one guy's saying. The other guy's saying you're a sellout. You're not a real Muslim. You're too like leftist and progressive. I don't know. Like that's hard for me to swallow, that all of these people are going to be in alliance when they're really, their values are completely different. Yeah, they're called Muslim, but like who they are as people. And
do you think they're going to side with Christians? Are they going to side with Christians?
I would say they would side with Christians over like people doing terrorism and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Yeah. I think so. They believe in democracy. They believe in living in. If these people had power, they would kill them. You know that.
Okay. Let me put it to you this way. Okay, we saw, after October 7th, we saw, queers for Palestine, trans for Palestine, gays for Palestine. They welcomed them. Now, true, the Salafis, they're like, you're disgusting, but that was very limited to a small group of people. But most of them, of the Muslim core that are supporting Palestine and Hamas, they welcomed them into this. And as you just said, you know what? They killed them. Actually, there's a funny story going around on the X feeds where this trans woman, who supports, she got beat up in Denmark by a bunch of Muslims. They said, I don't understand. I support Palestine. But no, you just stated it.
Okay. We need to do one more thing because we got 5 minutes, and I got to do one more before we go. Okay, so we're talking about England and a crusade to re-immigrate is the point that I'm trying to make. I'm not talking about the violent subjugation of Muslims. I'm talking about just kicking them the F out. And that was the main video that I wanted to play today, and I couldn't find it. But the guy gets on there, just get the F out. Get the F out of our country, get the F out of our society. And if you don't, and this is something that I had a conversation with the gentleman by the name of Carl Goldberg, if you don't know who he is, he's been involved in this a lot. And he said that it's not going to end without bloodshed. When the British and these other Western countries in Europe finally wake up and they start to try to re-immigrate, it's going to be game on. That's when the violence will start, when they start to do it wholesale. Now in the United States, there's been a protest. There was a protest this past week in Dearbornistan, Michigan, and let me go ahead and show a clip of a guy by the name. His name's Jake Long, and he is, I think, one of the leaders of this. And he is, as an organization, America Against the Islamification of America. And everybody knows the statistics and what's going on in Dearborn with their mayor even telling one of his own citizens, I want you, you're an Islamophobe, and I want you gone. And we know what Islamophobe is, just so a capper that knows too much about Islam. But this city is out of control. Now watch what happens here. This kid right here, watch what he's doing. Watch what this punk does. This is what these punk ass bitches do.
I'm upside down.
Smacks him. And what does he do? He runs off like a Hamas hole. That's exactly what it is. It's like he's Hamas. Let me hit this guy.
What did he do? I didn't understand. What did he? He stole something?
Well, they're marching against Islam in Dearborn. And this kid didn't like the fact that this guy would come up and march against Islam in Dearborn. Now, he also gets up here. Let me fast forward this. And he does something a little provocative here. But the point I was trying to make is this kid acts like a Hamas hole. He hits somebody and then runs away like a little girl.
Oh, he hit someone. Okay.
Yeah, he punches this guy. Look what he did to this guy. Let me replay it for you. Look what he does to this guy. Hold on, let me back it up. Hold on, back up. Back up, gunfighter. Come back here. Let me put it. Come on. Back it up. Let me put it back up on the screen. Show on screen. Now, this kid in the red hat. Watch what he does. Walking along, not even looking.
I'm upside down.
Bam.
Yeah, that's assault and battery. That's assault and battery. That's a crime. That's a crime.
Yeah.
That's assault and battery.
Yeah, and he runs off like a little girl.
I mean, my problem is, this is what I feel. If you want to live in this country, we have free speech. That's it. If you want to pray, however you want to pray, you can pray.
Not in Dearborn, you don't. Look what they do with this.
I'm just saying that's what it's supposed to be in America. If you want to pray at the masjid, you want to pray at the shul, you want to pray at the church, all of these, that we have those things in our country, in our constitution. We're allowed to do that. But your rights end when another person's rights begin. You don't get a right to hit someone because you don't like what they're saying. You get to debate them.
Yeah.
You can go learn verbal combat from Andrew Wilson.
My rights
Verbal combat.
I'm sorry. I got 1 minute.
Oh, sorry.
You've got this guy's rights ends where this guy's rights begin. You want to speak out, you want to protest against Islam, you have every right. When you try to stop that, now what you're doing is you are violating this guy's rights. Look what he does here. He was going to burn a Quran, and a guy stole it from him.
Uncharted by Capitol Police Officer lady, so it's okay.
Well, that's what happens. He gets another Quran. Now this guy, oh no, this is before on it. Where did it go? Right here. Okay, he's slapping it with bacon, so it makes all these people mad. Now this guy in the blue jacket right here, this has to be because he's going to burn it. This guy in the blue jacket steals his Quran from it before he can burn it. Now I'm not about.
That's his property. That's his property.
Exactly. But I'm not about burning books. But if you're going to burn a book in protest, okay, fine. You're making a statement. Leave him alone. Let him do it. You want to burn a Bible? Go ahead.
Write an op-ed. Do a counter protest.
What's that?
I'm sorry. I was just writing an op-ed.
Now, let me get into my argument for why Christianity makes better societies than Islam. And it's pretty simple. Islamic societies breed an inbred.
Okay. That's what I was going to say about that, I think.
Do you mind if I just say one thing quickly?
Okay, quickly. We got to go.
What? Sorry, I know. I was just going to say,
right.
Write op-eds, do counter protests, be a civilian of the American society. That we have rules. There are rules. So you follow the rules. And that's it. If you don't like something, right, do a counter protest. You don't get a right.
Lisa, this is the point. Whose rules are you talking about?
We follow America's rules. United States rules. Yeah. We follow the rules of the United States. Okay. We live here. We're following the rules here.
Are they Muslim rules or are they American rules?
Well, the Muslims have to follow them. They're living here.
That's the point. That is the point. They're thinking that they don't have.
Oh, they have to follow. We all have to follow America rules. We live in the United States. That's it.
Is this? Am I sharing this video here?
No, I am. Can I play it real quick?
Hey, you got 30 seconds. We got to go.
Here we go.
No sound.
What?
No sound.
By the way, I was at DebateCon. I saw this debate. Man, the crowd was just crying and screaming. It was hilarious. You both need to come to DebateCon. You need to see this guy in action.
Okay,
for real.
look, Brad, can you end the stream?
I'm trying, bro.
No. End the stream. Can you end the stream?
No, I can't. End the live stream. No, it's fine. We're done. I'm done. Go ahead.
Well, keep that. We'll play it next week. We'll definitely do it next
week.
Problem.
No problem.
We got to get to DebateCon. But it's like $300. Anyway, all right. I got to go. God bless y'all, and we will see you next week.
God bless you too.
Adios.
Adios.
Advanced, student, and specialist. That the standard narrative has holes. That's what I'm.
That the Muslims were rioting against one another. And as much as we don't want to face the fact, the Muslims were lying sometimes. They were fabricating.